Just me, a place to be me, where you get to experience life. 'Cause life is a journey, not a guided tour. If you want the rainbow, you have to go through the rain. Hey, welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for joining us in this podcast episode. And the series overall is called Rest and Rediscovery. And so for the first two, maybe one episode, we discussed really what rest is and what the need is and the importance of physical rest and versus mental rest. And I think today this recording comes right on time because when I tell you that I am experiencing a need for rest, I am so glad that we are having this conversation today, Miss Tracy.
All day long. You are not on that ship by yourself. So we're going to make sure neither of us sink today. And it's good that when we talk, we previously talked about having like support systems and stuff. So you don't take relationships for granted, because at any moment, that relationship, even if it's somebody you just meet on the bus, can be your support for what you are dealing with, to help you get through, or even help redirect your processing or your thought process in and of itself alone. So we're laughing internally because we know what our conversation is about to be about externally, when it talks about rest and rediscovery. And like Sasha said, that it couldn't be a more perfect town, because we's tired. and when we talk about rest, we were prepared to even talk about the 7 types of rest: physical rest, mental rest, sensory rest, creative rest, emotional rest, social rest, and spiritual rest. And you can be tired from all of the above, but just imagine just being tired in more than one area. And if you are, like, you go from tired to like exhaustion. So even in looking at this list, for me to be transparent, I would say physical rest, mental rest, and spiritual rest. So even those 3 things, let alone trying to handle lacking rest in one area.
Yep.
So I can identify in like 3 different areas. So y'all know part of my tea, and Miss Sasha's gonna say her tea, and then we're gonna kind of break down each of those areas real quick, kind of, and then so you can see, like, this is real life, real talk, that regardless of your who you are, your job, your title, your position, your age, that it can happen. But the key thing is to be aware, and when you are aware, is to do something about it. Not to just let it linger and linger and linger to the point where, again, now I've picked up 3. If I would have addressed 1 when it first hit on, right now it wouldn't feel as much. But now I'm trying to tackle all 3, because guess what? I'm taking a vacation from it all to help me reset. And if you got to implement a vacation, or 20 minutes away from your work, pull yourself away. If you can't get a couple of days off of work, take a day, take a half a day, but take some time to address it, because a little becomes a whole lot.
Yes. And I love what you said there, Ms. Tracy, about if you don't address one, others will start to pile on unintentionally, because there's a lack in one of the areas. And so that can turn in that physical fatigue, me just being physically tired, not getting enough sleep because I'm physically tired, can transfer into emotional fatigue as well. And so then you need emotional rest. And then that can transfer into that spiritual where you're just kind of checking out of it could be your religion, it could be your faith, it could be whatever you practice. Some of those things that you typically check into for rest, now you're checking out of.
Mm-hmm.
And I will definitely say that for me, I think that I have pushed myself over the past few months, over the past month, I've pushed myself physically,
Mm-hmm.
and that physical fatigue and the physical rest that I should have gotten has then transitioned into emotional rest that I need because I'm just irritated because the conversations that I have are not productive. They're not they're not helpful. They're not hurtful, but they're not productive in the sense of, am I talking just to be talking, or am I talking to resolve a situation or support somebody else? So I definitely
Mm-hmm.
understand that, hey, this, if you don't get one area of rest, it will jump on you in other areas.
It can jump in the other area. And I know we probably heard that term like, oh, you hangry, not hungry,
Mhm.
but you hangry because you're hungry and it makes you angry because you just get something to eat. The commercial when it's like, give them a Snicker bar.
Yep.
And then it just calms and that's how you soothe the common beast.
Mhm.
But when you talked about, like I said, that physical rest, the activities like sleeping or napping, and you lack that. So do something about it. Like,
Right.
does that mean going to bed early? Maybe, yes. Maybe missing a show that comes on at 11 o'clock or staying up to watch the entire football game, and you got to get up early in the morning. Make some adjustments. Because
Hmm.
if you don't, you're going to continue to cycle and you're going to be complaining about it.
Yep.
And you're in a position to do something about it.
That's the part. You're in the position to do something about it.
And you said like the lack of the physical rest can lead to the emotional
Hmm.
rest. Definitely. I know it was a time like you said, well, I'm not a morning person. Like you got all that sleep and you wake up with an attitude because I really ain't rested for
Yeah.
one thing.
Yep.
But because I'm physically tired, everything irritates me. And it's like, oh, and I finally sit down in a chair to get a breath, and then here you come
Yep.
asking me to use my mind.
Yep.
And now that mental rest, because I can't focus on nothing because I got so much going on.
And I think we do that a lot when we talk about multitasking and we
Mm-hmm,
don't really realize it. I
mm-hmm,
know for me, I will do that with my work, but I also know that for um like say moms or dads, single moms or
mm-hmm,
dads who have to work, also have to show up to be friends and caregivers for family members, but then also parenting. So sometimes we don't include that into that area of that takes mental capacity. So
mm-hmm,
if you're not getting mental rest because you're trying to juggle multiple different things, then you're not able to show up for some of the things that really are important, like parenting.
mm-hmm.
So the importance of really taking that mental break and what that can look like with really allowing yourself, if you know you have a project to do, or if you know you have to do the laundry, sometimes it's okay not to multitask. And I even
Mm-hmm.
have to check myself with that.
Right.
Like Sasha, sometimes it's okay not to multitask. It's okay to be in the present moment of the activity that you are doing and not think about 50 million other things that you have to do.
And that's hard for us, especially in our like field. It's like all your mind is just always like on us. I guess like on assignment. Like I always want to work.
Yeah.
Like okay, it's time to like take a lunch break, brain. Like you
Hmm.
know, brain go take a nap. But it's kind of cool. Today we get to talk about like how we take our own medicine, and
Yeah.
that even that next one. I know too. Just knowing is some of the things that you do to help take a break, being part of a activity, a sports activity now,
Hmm.
being part of other team is a way to like, what, I need a break from this. I'm always in work mode. Boom, 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 boom. There's other things that I can do to enjoy, to give my brain a break from always being, operating, not really enjoying, getting
Yeah.
those pleasures. that I want. Um, and again, like for me, like I know like stuff is just hitting, and I got break times in it because I'm scheduling vacations, a little time away, whether it's 2 days, 3 days, or one day,
Mm-hmm.
like on purpose, intentionally, so I can get those breaks during those seasons. But one of those other types of rest was that sensory rest, and I think I felt myself getting sucked up in that, and
Mm.
that's just being overstimulated by external sources. We sometimes they talk about bright lights and screens, but we know that dog on Facebook and those reels,
Oh,
you just get sucked in. I see one, and then
yes.
in an hour, I'm still there. It's like, wait a minute,
It'll,
but you get sucked up, and then
yeah,
all the things that are going on, your brain is like,
yep.
that heart, that pulse in your brain is just going boom, 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 fast, everything fast paced. And you know what? Unplug.
Mm-hmm.
My Facebook app used to be on a third screen, so I had to go to work to get to it. I don't know how that booger got to the first screen now, because as soon as I open it, Facebook right there.
That is such a good technique.
Yeah.
I am so
Yes.
glad you said
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Something as simple as moving these apps on your phone instead of
Mm-hmm.
on the home page, maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's 4 pages back. So
Yeah.
I ain't got, because literally the way my attention is set up
Yeah.
at this
I
point,
ain't
if I
got
have
time
to
to go
scroll
over
to,
there. Yes, yes, sir. Like I said, I upgrade when I did, probably when I did that upgrade, not the upgrade. You what they do when you hit the updates come in.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yes.
It probably moved it to the front screen because it said I don't have no screen time, and it even tell you that on the phone.
So invasive, just
So if your
invasive.
screen time is longer than how many hours you even put at work and get paid for that, there's a problem, Houston.
Yes, yes. These phones are so intrusive. Tech, man, oh man.
Everything right there in your hand. So that's a good one. I think that overload, it might be a lot of people that are dealing with that and don't realize or just are in denial. It's like just
Mhm.
do a check. Do a check and see how many hours you spend in a day on social media.
Yeah.
Any technology that you got, like I said, that you got to plug into. And we're talking about this disconnect that's affecting your sensors.
Yep. Yep. And it's not going to be easy. It's you definitely have to do it for more than a day. And
Mm-hmm.
you have to also work up to doing it because when we think about how glued we are to these electronic devices, sometimes through organization, just having a schedule through work, through your personal
Mm-hmm.
life. So some things are definitely a necessity
Mm-hmm.
in your own right, but then also other things are just, this is just for entertainment purposes. And so it's not going to be easy as you might have a little discomfort the first hour, the second hour, the third hour,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the half a day. So sometimes we have to work through that uncomfortable period in order to get to a purposeful rest.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And I tell you, well, we talked about my two of my three. My third one was that spiritual rest, and
Yeah.
that's my reset. Like through meditation, through prayer. I love nature. Um, my faith is again just my biggest reset. And if you neglect that, for me, I have to make sure I'm an intentional embedding that into my daily routine.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it seems too much, it's like, all right, reset, back it up. And
Yep.
I go through my through meditation and scripture and prayer. And so and again, how you set yourself up to recover,
Mm-hmm.
reset, it
Yep.
has to be intentional. And that's part of this being just self-awareness. Um yeah, just when in doubt, just take some time. Sasha, I remember this thing we do sometime with clients when you do the pie of your life.
Yeah.
Just really just draw that circle and dedicate how much time do you do in every area of your life. And if one thing is 50% more, and like maybe you just need to take a break, maybe you need to find some balance, but rest and is very vital.
Yes, yes.
Stuff.
And sometimes we don't recognize when we would need spiritual rest. But I think that for me, I know that I need to have spiritual rest. And that means tapping back into reconnecting with my faith and my spirituality is when I start to feel like everything is negative. So I have to almost check back in and get some spiritual rest with going back in. All right, well, let me look to the bigger picture, the higher importance of this. It's not just about me. It's not what is happening to me. This is these are bigger things. And so it helps to give me a better sense of purpose and belonging instead of just being doom and gloom because I'm just so tired. I'm just so overwhelmed. So I recognize when I need to tap into my spiritual rest when that starts to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I know that for emotional rest, this is something that kind of really, really resonates because emotional rest is allowing yourself to freely express your emotions without the need to please others.
Mm-hmm.
And for some of the responsibilities that I have in my life right now, I had to check in and allow myself to experience some of that emotional rest because I was in a situation where I felt like I had to keep the emotions closed and I had to keep the thoughts and the feelings closed just to kind of keep peace in my environment. And this is just something that I'm coping with and I'm trying to manage. But I recognized as soon as I got out of that experience and I was able to really just breathe, I was able to express myself a little more freely and get some understanding of why I was so irritable, of why I was so short-tempered with people, and for why all of these things were happening.
Well, what about the social rest? Because some people struggle, and I won't even say, I'll just even make it personal. It's at times where it can be a struggle because of relationships. So if I know a person is every time I get around them, it just feel draining.
Yeah.
But yet I still go because it's my cousin, it's my sister, it's my brother. They need me, but it's so overwhelming and draining. Be like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you need that. But it can be very, very challenging. And then when you pull yourself away, you looked at as, oh, she thinks she better than everybody, or what's wrong with you? They think you're isolating. So it is important to disconnect from any person, place, or thing that is
Now.
draining you out.
Yes.
Communication helps you express yourself to say, you know what, this is too much. I need a break. If that person should be understanding enough to let you get some space, you can resume, but get your space. You know what's draining you.
Yes.
If I need you and you keep coming, apparently to me, I'm not a problem to you. But then if you leave out of my presence and you go tell everybody else, oh, they always drain, they always doing it. What good is it telling them opposed to the person that is really that you're getting affected by? Have that conversation with them so they'll know, because they're going to keep coming.
Right.
And if you keep acting like you're there but really not there, you're giving them a disservice and you are causing those issues. They're not, because you can decide, you know what, wait, this is too much, I gotta go. I'm not obligated to be here.
Right. Right. And you do yourself a huge disservice with the relationship if you don't communicate those things. And we all have an opportunity in one way or another to express ourselves, to communicate, whether it's verbal, whether it is through writing, whether it is, smoke signal. We all have a way of communicating what is going on for us. And you get to show up and choose how you want to communicate
mm-hmm.
with that person in order to help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but we low key do it behind closed doors, behind that person's back. And what I mean by that, if somebody called me that is draining, and I look at that phone and I see that name, and like right now, I don't got enough space for all of that.
mm-hmm.
And it's like, I ain't finna answer that,
because
I know I don't have space for it.
Yep.
But if they walk, or they came to my house and knocked on the door, I'm gonna say, "Come on in, have a seat. What you want to drink?"
Right.
And be like, "Oh, I wish I wasn't home," but
yep.
I'm going to entertain it, and I don't have to.
You don't. And the hardest thing about that is really being comfortable enough with yourself and your own emotions to say something. Now, it doesn't have to be disrespectful.
Right.
But it can be in a way that, listen, I got a lot going on. I don't have space for this conversation or this interaction right now. I do want to show up and be my happy-go-lucky self and really be transparent and honest. But right now, I don't have that space and time. When's another time? So if you have to plan it, or if it's like, hey, I have to get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
So there are several ways to have the conversation, and only you know how to help or to have that conversation that is true to you. Because the way I say it may not be the same as what Tracy says, or the way Tracy says it. But I bet it is 10 times better than verbally blowing up at somebody, showing aggression, physically hurting somebody, or hurting yourself. It's a lot better than that.
A lot. That's real. That is I again, this couldn't have came at a better time.
Right.
The rest that is so much needed that I cannot wait to indulge in. And I'm looking at a painting that was done, and that they have a lot of those like paint and sips, and even if you don't drink, you don't have to sip on that. You can still go paint. Amazon, you can order the stuff on Amazon. You can have cheese and crackers and some Pepsi or some water with your boo or just by yourself, and really just get that peaceness and that stillness just through art and that creative side of you. If you paint, if you do poetry, whatever it is, tap into that creative side of you, and explore and enjoy.
Yes, that's that creative rest.
Yeah. And we all need it. We all need it. We're not machines. Your battery will run out.
Yep.
Disconnect from technology just to give your brain a rest.
And it's not to say that you can't come back to these things, but we all need breaks.
Yeah.
Kids all need naps because they just get cranky. Adults, we need breaks.
And your break might be 10 minutes. Mine might be 10 days, but break, do something.
Right.
Do something. Little steps add up to big steps. It'll make a difference. So that's
Absolutely. This conversation was right on time. Thank you so much, Miss Tracy, for tapping in. And thank you guys for tapping in as far as listening. Until next time, take care of yourself so that we can all take care of each other, guys. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Just Me Therapy podcast. If you are seeking further one-on-one diagnoses, interventions, and treatment plans, please consider scheduling an appointment with an individual counselor at Journeys Counseling Center, located in Greensboro, North Carolina. Journeys can be reached at 336-294-1349. The mission of Just Me Therapy podcast is to use authentic conversations to uplift one's mind, body, and soul. The goal of Just Me Therapy is to offer affordable education and insight to individuals who experience financial barriers to accessing individualized behavioral health care services. With that being said, the information, including opinions, advice, and recommendations discussed in this podcast, are intended for individual, informational, and educational purposes only. Such information is not intended to substitute the recommendations of your own licensed therapist or healthcare professional. Although we are licensed behavioral health professionals, we are not your licensed behavioral health professional. As a result, the advice mentioned on this podcast should not replace the recommendations offered by your own qualified health professional.